this is just, I couldn't help myself. They actually had this truck called the Stemo. They had a CT scanner on wheels. And they were just screaming around Germany. It cost about $3 million total, including the maintenance of the truck, because they spent $1.5 million just to run it. And they pushed TPA on the streets and had zero benefit from it. But they reported it as a positive trial because it turns out if you give TPA on the side of the road, it's faster than if you drive them to the hospital. Good job, guys. So the EMS Trends, this is going to be a nightmare for the pre-hospital folks. If you have a stroke and you're out in the country, do you drive for an extra hour and a half to get to that big center that might be able to offer some of this stuff? Or do you go to the nearest ER regardless of how small it is? Not real clear. So hats off to Hartman Gross and the REACH folks for at least appropriately figuring out who is the ischemic strokes. Do not take my doubting of TPA as me having a problem with the REACH stuff. I actually love what they're doing because they're making sure that people aren't getting it for stroke mimics and making sure that they're not missing subtle brain bleeds. That is far better than just these country folks just randomly pushing TPA. That's bad. So now we got this one-way ratchet. The placebo trials are now unethical. No one's allowed to do the NINS2 study again. You can't do it. People won't back you, which is a real problem. So history is going to repeat itself. Once TPA's patent wears off, which is happening soon, they're going to have this new thing and say, you know what, Dan, you're right. TPA is garbage. We should have been using this other stuff. It's got a shiny new patent. So Tenecteplase is coming, and regardless of what the data says, they're going to try to sell it to you for a pretty penny. So these repeated things, and there's going to be a lot of hype, and they're going to say, you're right. It's the same thing that happened when Zofran showed up and killed Droperidol. Now Zofran's patent's wearing off, and everyone's like, it kills babies. Like, no, it doesn't. Zofran's fine, so was Droperidol. It's just whenever a drug's patent wears off, the pharmaceutical companies try to kill it. So it's a one-way ratchet. We always go in one direction, more and more TPA. So we got limited money to spend on strokes. Instead of spending on nursing and rehabilitation and focusing on aspirin and other things to figure out, we're not doing it. We'll never find out what the STEMI of strokes are because you can't do the studies anymore. And the EMS systems are going to blow up because people are going to be driving all over the place, rushing people to centers to get a drug that probably doesn't work. Also, huge amounts of legal liability if you actually listen to me.